Welcome to In My Opinion show with Ronald Barrington Robinson, Miss Jackie Webster, and Mr. Henry Hatter. Let's discuss safeguarding abortion access with the recent Supreme Court decision in shutting down Roe versus Wade. That leaves a lot of questions. It leaves a lot of women in distress. Jackie, why don't you let our public know how you feel about Roe versus Wade?
Well, thank you. And it's Webster Williams. I want to make sure I honor my husband, but that's fine. This Roe versus Wade cancellation by the Supreme Court has sent all of the authority to the states. And in this short time of them reversing that, all of the Republican states, I think outside of one, have implemented tight restrictive bans. So Texas leading the top because they not only have restrictive bans, but they also have a bounty where if you're involved in even assisting someone to try to seek some type of medical help out, with the abortion, then they can put a bounty on your head. And also they have something that's pending that's asking for authorization to release medical records. This is beyond invasive for a woman. And I understand that everybody has a right to choose, in my mind. Everybody has a right to choose. That's between them and God and their partners and their doctors. I don't think the states and the government as a whole should have that much weight because last I checked, no men have had any restrictive action taken against them. And of course, this is being led by all men.
Well, I think men should mind their own damn business and not try to tell a woman what she has to do or what she can do with her body. It's none of your damn business. All right. And if Trump was here right now, I'd tell him it's none of his damn business because it's not. As Jackie said, there's no restrictions on a man. Okay. And it's very invasive because right now, at last count, women have died. All right, with these restrictions, men don't have to worry about a lot of things that women have to worry about in terms of how her health is and what affects her body. If she wants to have a kid, fine. If she doesn't, that's her concern. Okay, I don't see no man having a baby. And when and when that day comes, it'll be historic, you know. But all joking aside, it is not a man's business. Henry, what do you think?
Well, the show wouldn't be a show without someone taking opposition to your sentiments. I don't think it's about men or women. I think it's about families. It's about culture. It's about life. It's not about men or women. They have little to do with that. The man, of course, needs to accept the woman as she is. And the Bible says he was a gift. That's fine with me. And of course, we want to support women in their struggles for good health. Everybody does. I know not even the haters of women would not want to see women pursue good health practices and be able to access them. I don't see that as part of the problem, but I see the death of a child. That's what I see. And abortion, to me, I'm a right to life from way back. My mother had 11 kids and never aborted one of them. Never thought about it, I don't think, because we're all alive and we are long livers. And my wife had 3, and she never spoke to me about wanting to abort them. She loved her kids, and all of her kids are now uh, successful because of her. And some of her nieces and nephews gravitate to her because she was good at the kids. She loved them. But when women say, I want to abort babies just because I have a right to do something, I have a problem with that. But there should be a reason. You got to justify why you want to get rid of a baby, not just to kill it. That's anti-human to do that. We don't kill for the sake of killing.
Well, it's not that simple, Henry. Roe versus Wade has been in existence for the last 50 years. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, women have not had to be concerned so much about that. But now, even if a woman is having difficulty,
She's
in-
protected.
No,
No,
she's
she's
not.
Medical?
yes,
No,
yes,
she
she's
is not protected. She's
Yes,
not
she's
protected.
protected.
The lady in Georgia was protected when she died
I don't
because,
know. I don't know
okay,
the circumstance. I don't know the
well, the circumstances, the parents came out and talked. And what happened was this lady was, she had an abortion in another state because you can't have one in
Mhm.
Georgia. She came back to her home in
Mhm.
Georgia and she had complications. Well, she went to the hospital, and the restrictive thing is that you can't assist unless it's life and death. So they let her sit there until, because they didn't want to be prosecuted for harm or even assisting. So they waited too late. And when they finally assisted her, it was too late and she died. So there is medical
I would call
restrictions.
that a bad judgment by the doctor and by the hospital.
No, it's a bad
Hang
judgment.
on,
It's
we
a
got we
bad
have both
judgment
sides
by
of it.
them damn Supreme Court
No,
justices
no, hang on. There are
and that idiot president. Okay,
But there,
Trump.
no, it's not about men.
Right.
It's about families. It's about all of us.
No, it
Stephanie,
can
when
be
you put
about
it in the bigger
families.
context, it's about all of us. I strive to protect women's rights.
But
I
you can't
do.
protect them more than we can. So what I'm saying is your
More than
mother
who?
chose your
More than
mother
who?
chose to have
More than
11
who?
women are going to protect themselves. That's the first law of
Well,
nature. We're going to protect ourselves. What I'm saying is we were fine until you guys bothered Roe versus
who is you
Wade.
guys?
Republicans.
I don't think Republicans
Yes,
have
that's
a,
who did it.
can I just say this, please? Would you listen to me? You don't have to believe me, but let the audience listen to another side of this issue. I don't think it's about, again, I don't think it's um, about abortion. It's about life. If you can prove to me that it's done to save a life,
Well, why do we have to prove to you?
because we all do, because killing of babies is illegal, amoral, and wrong.
Okay, but this is what I want to make sure we understand, and I want the audience to hear me as well. We say that, but the first time we go to a budget, the first thing you cut is aid to people that can't afford to have children. You're not increasing that aid,
Yeah.
you're deducting that aid and reducing it. So you're making it harder for
I
them.
yield that point to you.
Yeah. So,
Those are circumstances that we
but do you really want somebody to have a baby and don't really want it? Do you want that? Do you know how many abused children there are?
why do you get involved in the situation in the first place?
Well, we can ask a lot of questions. Why do we get involved in bad relationships?
No,
Because we
no.
choose to make, and sometimes our
I don't
choices
mind
don't.
bad relationship.
Okay.
But why do you get into a circumstance to have a child, God's gift to humanity, and then you kill it? Why?
If big old God will hold you accountable, then that's who you need to check with. We're not God and we're not
But
judges.
you should live with the laws and rules that God has handed down
And
to
he
you.
also said we all have to stand there by ourselves. So you don't need to stand for me on what I did and what I chose to do with me. I have to stand there for myself. You have
No,
to stand
no.
there for yourself. So you don't need to be in my lane.
I don't believe that.
You don't need to be in my lane worrying about what I'm
I don't
doing
believe that.
because you are worrying about what I'm doing and you're only responsible for what you do.
I think that we're in it together.
No, we're not in it together.
Well, that's a point of view.
Oh,
But now
okay.
look at this. We're in this together, and we must be in it together. Whether we're black, white, male,
Yeah,
female, life is
yeah,
a
because it doesn't matter.
process that involves
Right.
all of
The
us.
color isn't really, well,
Well,
actually,
let's
it is a
uh,
point
hang,
because you know what?
but
Black
you
and
say
brown people
it's
have way
about
less
me.
abortions.
Why do you say it's about me?
It's
It is
the
not about you.
population. We have way less abortions. The black and brown community have way less
That
abortions.
is not the way statistics have it.
That's the truth.
We kill most of our babies.
No, we do not.
This is
They
what
don't
is.
have money for that. We don't have money for that.
There's statistics out there.
And I
that
was reading some
Black
before.
children are killed at a extreme, disproportionate manner than white children.
And guess what? It's the number one killer. Not having prenatal care.
Well, that may
That's
be. But
because in
also you make
Mississippi,
a
that's the
dis-
number one killer because they don't have the proper prenatal. Once again, it's underfunded, but you want people to have all these kids. It's
I
underfunded. And
won't dispute that.
yeah,
But the gravity of the pride and arrogance of people who say they want abortion to kill the baby.
No,
That
they
is-
don't
that
say
is-
that.
that
They
is-
don't say that.
I said the pride and arrogance. There
Okay.
are people say, well, it's my body. No, I got a child. I'm pregnant. No, what do you want me to do, mister? I'll do it. It's my body. What do you want me to do?
you carry it.
The arrogance.
That's
No,
what you
that
do.
is not-
You
that-
carry it.
that's
Let me
not-
see you carry it.
Yeah, but that's not a sound response.
Yes, it is a sound response because this is something that you can't do.
Response. I'm looking for a philosophical.
No, because you can't do this. So you tell me what I
No,
should
I
do in
don't.
my body, but you
don't.
can't even, your body can't even do what my body can do.
I don't, and that's the way God made me.
To stay in your own lane. That
No,
is
not to
exactly
stay
the
in your
point.
own. God
Yeah,
created
he
in the
did.
Garden of Eden. He created man and woman,
Right.
and they were to live together forever in this garden until they violated the
Right.
laws of God.
And so now that we violated, guess what he gave us? He gave us
Yeah.
choices to choose.
But I don't understand your argument that it's what I want to do with my body.
No, it's not a matter of that. It's your choice. It's been,
But those
and
are
a lot of
political
stuff.
responses. I
No,
wanna hear
it's not
philosophical-
political.
I want to hear philosophical response.
Nobody
Something
is
that's
asking me
thought
the
out through
response of a
logic.
man that can have 45 children by all these different people. Where is the restrictive things on him?
I don't know, but I don't.
Because
never
that can
hear.
solve it. Last I
Yeah,
checked.
but that might be incidents. That's a. But
So
we don't
meet me
all-
at the
we
at the
don't-
crossroad where at least you can show me what men are having to make a sacrifice because
You
I
got
don't
it
see
against
one.
Man against woman. Women will never get that kind of access unless they work with men. Also, you got to remember that men are half of the population. You got to be able to get in his lane and prove to him that he's wrong, but not to arrogantly oppose him. That is not the way things are achieved.
It doesn't seem like it's getting any better because it seemed like you give him an inch and he takes a mile. So it's not getting any better. So it's not like, okay, you got rid of Roe versus Wade. Now we're going to stop and we're going to do this. Now we're going to give you more funding for prenatal. We're going to give you more funding for parents that have to send their kids to preschool and all of that out of pocket and daycare. None of that is happening. Matter of fact, Project 2025 says that it's getting ready to go back even further because now you're getting ready to remove all those extra things that we're used to having. So in order to level the field, you have to think about if you don't want somebody to have an abortion, then give them some things that's going to help them to sustain that child and not live in poverty because half the people that's making a decision don't live in poverty. So it's not apples to apples, it's apples to oranges.
Well, I don't think that all women think that way. There are a lot of women who love their children. There are a lot of women
love
who
my
don't
children.
mind having children. And the ones who with the loudest voices have forced those women to stop engaging in the process.
I don't think so.
But that's
Because even though I feel this way, yeah, I feel this way,
don't be
but my
so-
friend, but women, I want them to be able to choose for their own
Well,
house.
so do I.
Them to choose, not you and a party.
But so do
Them
so
to
do I.
choose. I don't want them to not be able to have the choice, is what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Henry. I mean, in all respect, let them have the choice
No.
so that they can, they don't have any regrets.
I suspect this movement will end up like the Black movement did. People got tired of hearing Black people cry.
It's not just
Hang
black
on, hang
people.
on, no.
Let's not throw.
So
let's
hang on,
not-
guys, hang on. But they turned their backs on it. Just like there are people now on TV that's turning their backs on the uh, Roe versus Wade movement. They're satirizing. They're laughing at it, and it shouldn't be laughed at.
Who is laughing at it?
The TV announcers.
Well, we know that's controlled.
Well, I don't care what is controlled, but the
Well, if they're
population
laughing
has
at
to
it,
go.
it must be
Yeah.
that channel that I
But they
I
get
won't
tired of
speak
they
of.
get tired of an issue where people just move into
A numb space.
a numb space.
But you know, I'm not fighting for Jackie because I pray that I'm out of that era in my life. I'm not fighting for Jackie. I'm fighting for the right of my grandchildren. I'm fighting for the right of her children. I'm fighting for their right to be able to make decisions in their household and the government is not controlling the narrative.
I submit to you that your kids don't want you making decisions for them.
And just like
because-
my kids don't want me making
No, they
decisions,
don't
they
want-
definitely don't
kids
want the
do not.
government to make decisions.
They don't want their parents making decisions for them.
And they don't
will
want the
tell you that.
government.
They would tell you that in your face.
In case in point, that's why no one wants the government in their
But
business.
government has to protect people. That's why government exists, to provide
We had removed them out of our business for 50
But-
years and we
but-
were fine.
But government has moved people. I mean, government is the protector of our way of life. It protects us from you yourself and the government itself and from outsiders.
Okay.
The government's there. It exists for a good reason. And we can't change that.
Okay.
And individuals are only one tiny parcel of the reality of life.
Okay.
You're not life itself. One individual is not life. But it takes the multitude of people to working together to solve these kind of
And one
problems.
mindset doesn't affect all of the rest of Americans. And when the 3 Supreme Court justices came into their position, they said that
But this
Roe
is still
versus Wade
political
was
to me.
settled law.
It's
No,
not
because you said it was settled law when you were interviewed, and then eventually within 2 years you overturn
But
it.
Jackie,
So my point is this: if you knew that you would have said something different, there might have been a different outcome.
but
But you
Jackie,
weren't being honest.
I will submit to you that the decision by the Supreme Court is problematic. But I won't say abortion, killing kids, is something that I would pursue. I will never do that.
See, nobody's saying killing kids.
That's what
I've heard
abortion
you say
is.
that several times.
Thank
all
you.
right? Even when a woman has been told, and the child is still within her body, and it's not going to live. All right, she still can't get an abortion. All right. This
see-
lady that I believe she had sepsis or something,
Yep.
went to the doctor. He wouldn't do nothing because he was scared
Yep.
that he was going to go to prison because that's the law. All right.
But
And
it was against the Hyperion.
and that's the worst law
Oh,
ever.
the
All right. Them three like Jackie was saying earlier, they said that it was settled law when they were being interviewed to become Supreme Court justices. They get in there, all right, and then this other guy, this idiot, all right, had an agreement with them before he even probably nominated them for the Supreme Court. That was never talked about.
See, these are political arguments. You're not
All right.
arguing so that the public understands the process. You're batting political arguments back and forth.
Was it not a political
But
move?
you know what? The woman who died with the sepsis, the doctor himself was the problem.
Don't blame it on the doctor. If she
Mm-mm.
could have had the
Right.
health care
Now
that
you
she
didn't. You
needed.
should have asked me why.
Okay,
You
why?
didn't-
I'm
you
sorry,
didn't ask the
Henry.
right
Why?
question.
Why, Henry?
Why do you believe that? Because there's a hypocritic oath that the doctor followed. to preserve and protect life at all costs.
But that
the
was
doctor said,
before.
"Oh, I'm afraid. I'm a
No, that was
self-hating
before that
doctor."
you guys changed the law
You
where he
guys,
can
there
be,
we go again.
well, the Republican controlled state changed the laws where he could be prosecuted if he's found to have
But
anything
he
to do
still
with
has
it.
the oath to live by. It's like an oath with God.
Well,
But you
no.
guys have forgotten who God is. Maybe he's
No,
not
no,
in your
I
life
remember who
anymore.
God is, but
Yeah,
He
but
was
he's
going to
not
go to
in your life.
prison if he had did
yeah.
anything for that lady.
Who, the doctor
Yes.
or God?
No, God isn't going to
Let's
prison.
leave God out of it.
No,
Okay?
He's
we
not
have
going to
to.
All
prison.
right. No,
Because
you, no,
yes,
no,
we,
no, no.
we
You're
can't leave him out. You
apples
can't
and
argue
oranges
both,
here again.
both ways. No,
Right.
life is the sanctity of life belongs to God.
Well, you tell that stuff to this girl's family.
I did.
All right.
The doctor made a mistake.
No.
I mean, but
this
what does that do for them now? What does that do for them now?
Oh,
What
I
about the
know.
lady
It
that
was a
had the
sad thing.
baby that had a issue in the middle of her pregnancy in Texas where she had to carry a baby that was dead in her body and they would
You
not
guys
let
are
her.
attacking the Republicans. That's part of their platform. The
What, to
right
kill-
to life.
to kill
No,
kids?
the right
No,
to life.
but
That's part of the platform, and that would be hard to raise. You're gonna
it's
have
no
to kill
longer
a lot
right
of
to life,
Republicans. You're gonna have to
Henry.
kill a
It's no
lot of
longer right to life.
Republicans.
It's right to cruelty.
You're gonna
Right
have
to
kill
cruelty.
you're gonna have to kill a lot of Republicans to get rid of that,
It's not a bad idea.
and you're gonna have to kill a lot of Democrats as well. who believe
Well,
the
no,
same
I
thing.
don't think that's the point. I think the point is you have crossed the line. It's not a right to life anymore.
Who
It's
has crossed the line?
your party.
Well, I
Let
don't-
me just say it
it's a
again. Your party.
It's a platform issue.
No, but the platform
You gotta-
has
you gotta
caused
kill the
harm.
platform.
It has caused
You got to
harm.
change the platform. You got to get them to change it.
Then you need to call your
Because
party.
those are
Henry.
value judgments.
You need
on
to
what
call your
people
party
believe.
because they're going further.
No,
They're going further.
What else are they gonna?
Well,
what
well,
else
They're
are
going
they
further.
gonna
Now they got
outlaw
the
now?
bounty. Now you can just somebody can just get a
Guys,
bounty
we're
and it's a
not
bounty
talking
on
the
their
same
head.
thing.
So
We're-
yes, we are. We're
No,
talking
we're not
about
talking the
how
same
it went from you not being able to have an abortion in the state of Texas, in the state of Georgia. Now, if somebody finds out that you had an abortion or you're crossing the state line to go do that,
I
they
agree
could put
that
a
that's
bounty on your
difficult
head.
and awkward. I don't believe in that
Or if the
either.
doctor does something,
Right.
he or she is going to go to
I
prison.
want you guys to know that I don't believe in that either. Having to go into another state to have an abortion when it's critical issue. We need to work through that. We need to have conversations.
Well, who's
we need to-
Republican at this table?
Well, it's not only Republicans that have to make the decision, but it's a two-party system that works jointly to solve people problems.
So
But
in
you
the
can't
states,
just
but this is the
distance-
thing. You say it's a two-party, and I
Yes, it
understand that,
is.
but where we have the restrictive issues are in Republican controlled states.
Well, I said that there's a platform issue.
Yeah.
No, it's based on their beliefs, what people believe. People are what they believe.
So what is the separation of power?
Separation of power has to do with government, Congress, the Supreme Court, and the presidency.
So there should be a separation for religion. and go-
Religion is not part of government.
So your personal preference and how you feel about your relationship should not be what is the law. The law should be based on things that affect Americans. It can't be um your personal beliefs can't be your morals
To
cannot
me,
be
the
part of
beliefs
that.
are not, but they affect how you respond to critical issues that push before the legislature.
But everybody don't think like us.
But
Everybody
they don't have to.
if you're making me believe like you believe there's no reason that anybody should have an abortion. So if somebody is
We didn't
raped,
say that. You're way off base
do
again.
you believe that? Because that's what it is.
What did you just say?
So they have no there is no
Who has no?
these
Please identify.
Republican
Okay,
states.
go ahead.
So there is no exceptions. So if you're raped, incest, or anything, the 10-year-old,
true.
remember the
I'm
10-year-old
all
had
done
to
with
go
this
all
argument
around.
because I've heard that before and I don't believe it, and it's not true.
The
It's not
10-year-old
the
they had
way
to
American people think about
transfer her
abortion.
somewhere so she can have an abortion because she was 10 years old.
That is not it. That's a perspective. That's a political perspective.
Is that not a
Because the
true
Republicans
story?
believe in life as well as you do, and probably more so because they don't abort the babies.
You don't pay for the babies.
Well, they don't get in a position where they need to have babies. They use other kind of birth control.
Here we go again. So now you telling them what to do at their house. That's not
No,
how it
that's
works.
not
Can we
telling
go to
you.
y'all house and tell y'all what y'all should do?
I don't. How is that interfering with people telling them how to live? When I
Because
said that
there is a
Republicans
choice.
practice other, when they have relationships with them, they practice other ways of preventing pregnancies. And you might know what they are. I know what they are.
What are they?
Well, the big one for younger people is sustaining your relationship until later when you're
I mean,
ready
that
to
that
have
sounds
children.
great, but what is the percentage
But
of
the-
people that do that?
But we have to aspire to it, even if we don't. People are not perfect. We have to aspire to these things. This is the threshold of where God wants us to be, where life is, where reality is. It's there. Okay, so if we don't aspire to reach that, we'll never get there. We just live in the dross and wallow in our body fluids down here and
And I
feel
agree with that.
pitiful
I
because
agree. You reach for the
we
stars, and if
gotta,
you fall, you might fall
yeah,
in the clouds. But
yeah.
my point is that means that you're not perfect. So sometimes
I
we're gonna
said
make
that
this,
alone,
we're gonna
human
make
beings.
decisions that are not perfect. So what happens when we're in a place, Henry?
And what?
When we're in a place where we've made a decision that doesn't line up and we don't
Okay.
have any resources,
Now
what
you
do you
know I'm
do?
back with you.
What do you
Yeah.
do?
Now
Welcome back,
that's a
Henry.
rational approach to the question.
Okay.
Well, I know, and this is when people need the services that
Yes.
that government provides for them, and ought to, and by rights ought to, and the pastors and the doctors ought to do whatever's necessary to preserve life. In this case, that's the mom, and the mom is threatened by a pregnancy and needs to get rid of the child. Of course, people should act in that way to preserve life. I believe that. But I just don't believe that people should go out say, "Well, I'm pregnant here, and I have a right to kill this baby." That's the stuff that I don't care for, and that's not part of my belief, and it's not part of yours either, or
I
mom's.
don't think that's really the question. I believe the question is, if I remember correctly here, what we're having is a woman finds herself in distress, all right, and that her life is at stake, all
Mhm.
right, and the baby is dead in her body, okay. But the way they have it set up,
Who has this?
you
We're
Republic,
back to that.
you
Just a quick reminder that would be the Republicans, Henry.
yes, you
Oh,
Republicans
I
have it
love this. I
so that
love this.
so that you do as I say, not as
Folks,
I do.
listen at this
You know
argument.
what I mean? So
The baby's dead in mom's stomach,
yeah,
and
it's
her body's
it's been happening.
deteriorating.
Yes,
Now,
yes,
say this again so the
and
public can
if
understand this
okay,
and see how ridiculous it is.
no, it's a fact of life. All right, it's a fact. The woman is going to die if that baby is not removed. All right, and I mentioned here earlier there was a case here not too long ago that proves it. She went out of state to get that abortion. The doctor wouldn't do it. She come back home and died. All right. Now that's wrong.
Yeah, I agree that that's wrong and should not have ever happened.
Okay.
Ron, I'm with you on all of this, and I sympathize with women, and I support them, and I'll always support them. I said that the Supreme Court may have overreacted, and
I
and
accept that.
so I don't say. And you said that we don't live in a perfect world, and you're exactly right. We have to work coordinately and cooperatively with these other solve human problems. That's what I'm saying. And the
Good.
Republicans, you shouldn't condemn them. Go and you need to talk to them and tell them what your expectations of are.
At that point, we have to we have to close this segment of the In My Opinion show. And we will be back visiting this subject again because it's not going to go away. This is Ronald Barrington Robinson, Jackie, and Henry
At her.
Williams.
saying until next time, stay focused.